Hilchot Talmud Torah, chapter 1, and Halachah number 4. Okay, Halachah number 4. Let's read this Halachah without commentary first. It's very short. If person wants to study Torah and he has a son, whom he should teach Torah, his own study takes priority over that of his son. If his son is wiser and more creative thinker, and can understood what he studies more than he himself, his son is given priority. Even though his son is granted priority, he should not neglect his own studies. For just as he is commanded to teach his son, he is commanded to teach himself. So it's a very important point. Some people have this mistaken belief that if they invest a lot of money, a lot of energy in the education of their children, right, they send them to good yeshivas and stuff like that. So it means that they absolve from studying Torah, and it's very common. He said, no, he said, Rabbi, I'm not that smart, I'm not that advanced. But my son, let him learn. So which is not true, absolutely not true, as Rambam is saying. Okay, so let's do from the beginning with commentaries. If a person wants to study Torah and he has a son whom he should teach Torah, his own study takes priority over his son. So, okay, so he wants to study Torah and he has a son. So what does it mean, 26? And his financial capabilities allows only one of them to study. So it's very interesting. So he goes to study Torah, meaning the father. And it does not say here, but maybe it's going to say here. But it's very possible that he can teach his son himself, because he's going to study. But if son is going to study, if he's then going to pay money for the education of his son would not be able to teach his father, most likely. You understand? That's the thing. So commentary. So in commentary in the piece where it says, and his own study takes priority over that of his son. So if he is smarter, son is not that advanced, not that sharp, this and that, and he wants to study, meaning father, he must study. So he's, of course, if it's money allows to study for only one, of course. 27. Kiddushin 29b relates that Rav Acha Bar Yaakov sent his son to study under the Abaye's tutelage. Abai is the best. When his son returned, he saw that the son was had not mastered his subject matter. Rav Acha told him, "Remain here, and I will go to study." Right? Shulchan Aruch Harav, Hilchot Talmud Torah, Kuntres Aharon, limits this line since noting that a father has no right to ignore his son's education entirely, regardless of his own ability for advancement. Rather, this applies after the son is gained the basic Torah knowledge and seeks to continue his study. Right? So let's combine the whole answer together. So if son is if father wants to study Torah and son wants to study Torah, so the father's study takes priority. So I guess, as we explained here, that son is not that advanced, not that smart, right? But even if he's not that smart anyway, as a commentary say, you have to give him basic education. Okay, he has to able at least to read and understand Chumash and stuff like that. Basic education you must give him, right? So he can maybe now he's not that advanced, but maybe in a few years he would be a little smarter and would be able to pick up. But at least he would have base. He would be able to open the book and read on his own. Continue. If his son is wiser and a more creative thinker, and can understand what is his studies more than he himself, his son is given priority. So Rambam is very clear. Even though the father has not received any grounding for study, even though the father has not received any grounding in Torah study. Okay. Shulchan Aruch Harav and Hilchot Talmud Torah 1:7. Okay, so basically, if one more time, if only one person can go study, and of course the son is smarter, so we give precedence to son. Okay, because he can learn things on his own, meaning derive one thing from another, not just some people just memorize things and they know the answer, but if you ask them in a straightforward way, but if you ask them in a roundabout way, add few details to the situation, they got stuck. It's very interesting. So that's not the person we are talking about here, right? That know the concept and know how to derive one thing from another. Continue. Even though his son is granted priority, he should not neglect his own studies. Right? So son, okay, person send his son to yeshiva and stuff like that, and he pays a lot, and maybe he works 2 jobs, which is very not uncommon, right? In order to pay for children's education on one hand. On another hand, he must study on his own. He's not excluded, right? Commentary. Rather, he should establish fixed times to study Torah. So if a person is working, let's say normal, like most of us work in shifts or a day job, night shifts, whatever we work, we must have, at least men must have study sessions in the morning and at night. Okay, so of course, if possible during the day, but that's the minimum requirement, morning and night. Okay, so let me read the whole sentence. Even though his son is granted priority, he should not neglect his own studies. For just as he is commanded to teach his son, he is commanded to teach himself. It's very straightforward. And there is, I mean, after 120 years, when he is going to come to the judgment in Shamayim, so they're going to the second question. Then they're going to ask him if he established the fixed time for studying Torah. So it's very important to establish the fixed time and not to say no. I'm going to maybe I'll try to wake up a little early in the morning before the job, before the davening, and I'm going to study at night, whatever before going to bed. So guess what? If he said so, maybe he would be able to do it 2 days, 3 days, and that's it. He's going to fail. So a person has to give him have a established schedule. I'm going to learn. I'm just saying 6:30 to 7:30 in the morning. That's it. That's my learning time. That's it. Whatever happens doesn't matter. He must not cancel this time. Whatever happens. Same at night. Unless somebody is sick, somebody is dying, then you cancel. But otherwise, you don't cancel. For any events, they invite you to birthday, to wedding. Okay, unless you're a groom, so the wedding can go on without you, for sure. Continue. There is, though enabling one's son to study and studying by oneself are included in same mitzvah, a person cannot fulfill his obligation solely through the facilitating his son's study. Rather, he must set aside time to learn himself, because the mitzvah of twofold in nature, right? So, at least a very, very minimum, a person studies in order to do the mitzvahs. Otherwise, how does he know? How does he know, what blessing to make on the food? What is cover what? So, we learned in a class today, it's a different class. We're going through Shulchan Aruch, right? And there we said that sometimes bread is secondary. Not always the bread is primary and covers everything. Sometimes other foods are primary and bread is secondary. So people were very surprised. But in order to get to it, you need to study in depth.